Welcome to Truth Discovered. I am your host, Varonzia Harris. And today's episode is going to be anchored in 2 Corinthians 5 and 17. If anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. And today, my friends, we're not just talking about becoming new in general. No, we're going to go deeper than that here on Truth Discovered. That's how we do it over here. Reflect, but we always want to give you truth backed up by scripture and also my testimony. And you're always welcome to do the same. This is a safe space over here. We're talking about how that transformation shows up in the way we love. Because I realized something. A lot of us are trying to love differently, but we haven't fully understood who we are becoming. And that's important. That's really important, my friends. Before I get into my personal story, let me give you something to sit with. Because when you don't know who you are, and I've had an episode on that before, that is such an important key in becoming. And that's what becoming is all about. Tapping into who you are. God revealing you to you. This is how love tends to show up. Loving from responsibility looks like feeling like you have to fix everything. That once was me. Yeah, and for years I did that. Carrying emotional weight that drains you. That's a heavy one, my friends. Overextending yourself to keep peace. Absolutely a big one too. Saying yes when your spirit is saying no. Staying in conversations or environments that pull you out of alignment. That one is very important also. Staying in conversations I was taught that you weren't aligned with, but you thought you were keeping peace and you went along. Even by saying nothing, you were going along. And that's been years of just thinking I was keeping the peace. But no. And reason why individuals never change, because just your silence in that moment made them think you were in agreement. And this shows up also in different roles. As wives, trying to fix your husband instead of covering him. As mothers, carrying your children's emotional weight instead of guiding them. As teachers or nurturers, pouring so much into others that you neglect yourself. And I see this one a lot. We have some amazing teachers out there teaching our children, but sometimes you often look at them and wonder, wow, are they pouring also into themselves? And they should, because they matter also. As sisters and friends, tolerating what doesn't sit right just to keep connection. Like I said before, we think we're keeping the peace just to keep that connection that we're most of the time miserable in, because we're tolerating stuff that we don't agree with. And we don't have to make them feel bad about that. You just agree to disagree and keep moving, and not feel like I have to pretend that, I understand what you're saying and I believe what you're saying. No, I don't. But hey, you have your opinion and I have mine, and we can still coexist. Somebody's going to win somebody over as you walk together, and the fruit will start to show. And if we're honest, we've all been there at some point. But my friends, this morning, God showed me something different. He really did. He showed me that the way I was loving before I have gotten in this place of, just knowing why God created me, my purpose, how he wants me to move, when he wants me to move, before I came from who I was before. And I'm going to share that with you. My personal revelation that God shared with me about me. And I had to be honest with myself. I really did. I sat in it with them for a moment and I'm like, so true. As a young girl, my middle name is Lolita. Family and friends know me as Lolita. My first name is Varonzia, which hardly got used only in school. But even friends and family that knew me, in school, they always addressed me as Lolita. But when I got married and entered a new phase in my life, I was introduced as Varonzia. And then I stepped into Varonzia at that point in my life back in 1998, somewhere up in there. So Lolita was kind of put almost on standby in a sense when I walked into that new phase in my life of marriage and covenant. And through experiences, Lolita was shaped. Yep. Lolita is who life shaped. Through experiences, through survival, through what I had to learn just to make it. But Varonzia is who God is establishing. Yeah, every day. Who he's refining. And who he's trusting with favor and authority. Lean in a little bit. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about me. Lolita versus Varonzia. Lolita loved like this. Overextended. She carried everything. She tried to fix what wasn't hers. And she poured without boundaries. For years, no boundaries. At everybody's beck and call. At everything, that came about in my life, beck and call. She had no boundaries. Varonzia loves like this. She covers in prayer. She stays in position. She trusts God with the outcome. And she no longer carries what does not belong to her. But she does not carry what belongs to him, to God himself. I don't carry it anymore, my friends. I cover it. I cover it in prayer. And it works. It took a lot of unnecessary weight up off of me. A lot of places that I stayed and just continued to do and be and, felt like that's what I had to do to be accepted and to be loved. No longer do that anymore. And it brought another level of peace to me in this season that I'm in of becoming. So I don't carry it anymore. I cover it. And I want to say this to every woman watching or hearing me at this moment. Wives, mothers, teachers, nurturers, sisters, friends. We weren't taught to love from identity. We were taught to love from responsibility. That's how we were taught to love. And when you love from responsibility, you carry things God never asked you to carry. But when you love from identity, my friends, ladies, when you love from identity, you trust God with what only he can do. And we stop feeling like we have to, if we don't do it, it won't get done. That may be true in some instances. That very well may be true. But just maybe it wasn't supposed to be done. At least not by you. So now I understand. I can love deeply. And I do. I really do. When I step foot into somebody's life and I continue to love and show up regardless of how they act, even regardless of how some of them really truly feel about me. That's the gift God gave me. It's not a me thing, it's a God thing. And that is something that I have always looked at and said, God, thank you, because many times, if it was up to me, I would cut ties and never look back. But that's not how he created me. That's not what he wanted for me. Did he mean for me to stand in things and stay in relationships that demean me and belittle and don't celebrate? No. But I can even still love from afar. Yeah, I can still love from afar. That love does not have to turn into something cold, distant, or ugly. It doesn't. I can still love. And I can love deeply without losing myself. I can show up fully in that moment, standing right in the face of the one that doesn't care 2 cents about me, because that's just how he made me. You don't have to perform it when you're called. Yeah. It's like second nature, and it really does what the word says, heap hot coals on some people's head, because they know within themselves that they don't care for you, but they don't understand why you still treat them the way you do. And it's not for them to like you or love you, or even tolerate you. It's just how God made you. And like I said, I consider it a gift now. I really do. At one time, I'm like, you know what, Father, I think you cursed me the way you made me. But no, there's been a shift. There's been a change of mind, a change of heart posture. So I see things differently. I can show up fully without carrying everything. Yes, I can. I absolutely can. This version of me right here is structured, clear, and this gives me so much language, the way God has postured me for other women to see how knowing who you are matters when it comes to love. You need to know, because there's an old version of me and there's a new. And I invite all women to do the work. Yeah, get in that mirror and do the work. That's enough of us tearing one another down. Let's get in the mirror and do the work. And then once you do the work, turn around and go and help the next woman. That's what I'm doing. That's what Healing Out Loud, that's what Truth Discovered for me is all about. There's somebody out there feeling like they're on this path alone, but you're not. Another reason why I created Truth Discovered, that safe space to come and reflect, hear testimonies, and give somebody hope. Give some woman out there hope. And it's very important for me. I really, truly needed to do the work before I can turn around to help the next woman. Yeah. Every woman out there wants to be celebrated. They may not tell you that. They may not even, feel like that sometimes within themselves. Yeah, but they do. They really do. And I'm the woman that will do it, because it's not all about me. It's bigger than me. And I know that. So, my friends, I felt moved to really come and share me with you. Lolita versus Varonzia. The old versus the new. And they war all the time against each other. They do. Because sometimes Lolita want to show up when Varonzia know what she should be doing. Lolita likes to show up and want to say and do what she wants to do. So there's always a constant war, which is why we need to always be at the feet of God, always seeking his face, his word. Yeah, to keep that old man under subjection. My friends, thank you so much once again for stopping by, sharing this time with me, this space. I really appreciate you, and I'm always going to keep showing up, sharing, and welcoming you to do the same when you feel you want to. Today, take a deep breath with me. I have a declaration a little different for us for today, just for this episode. Take that deep breath, queens, and repeat after me. I release what I was never meant to carry. I choose to love without losing myself. I will cover in prayer and not carry in pressure. I trust God to do what I cannot. And I embrace who he is establishing me to be. Once again, thank you for joining me here in this safe space. This is Truth Discovered. from my heart to yours. If you've been feeling that tension, loving someone, but also feeling like you have told everything, you have had to hold everything together, I want you to know you're not doing it wrong, my friends. You're not doing it wrong. You're being refined. God is refining you. And maybe, just maybe, God isn't just changing your situation. He's changing who you are in it. He did it for me, ladies. Surely he can do it for you. Once again, thank you. And until the next time, truth discovered.